Hey, Teddy K here for the Best Buy blog, and in this video we're taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy Book4 Pro 360. This is Samsung's latest convertible 2-in-1 laptop available at Best Buy now and trying to offer something for everyone. This is a familiar place to be for Samsung with its laptops, especially when it comes to this one. Now the Book4 comes in 3 different models, so there's the Ultra, there's the Pro, there's the Pro 360, this one here, which is the only one that flips all the way back. And I didn't get the chance to test this one last year. I got the Ultra last year and got to test that, but I had previously tested the versions, the first and the second of the 360. And so I'm familiar with the purpose and how it functions and all that. And to be honest, I felt like it was a very iterative push up. Even though I skipped a generation from the second to the fourth, I felt like some positive changes were definitely made, but the focus and the purpose really hasn't changed. And so Samsung feels like it's got a device here that can be very much for creatives and for people who want to be productive or entertain themselves as well. So a little bit of everything, and it'll come at a cost. There aren't a ton of surprises here. So if you're familiar with Samsung's laptops, especially its Galaxy Book line, there isn't anything here that's going to really shock you or really be a stunning change or shift for the company. It's sticking to what it knows and it's sticking to what it wants to focus on. So let's jump right in. I'll show you the design and some of the features that are available. It's a very iterative upgrade, but I think you'll get a sense here of what really stands out about this device. First is how thin it is. This is, for a 16-inch laptop, they don't get this much thinner, I think. And so you can see here that we're going to take a look at the ports. We have headphone jack, and we got USB-A, and we have a micro SD card slot on this side. And then on the other side, we've got, right here, we can just take a look. We got 2 USB-C ports, Thunderbolt, and a HDMI 2.1. There are AKG speakers on board. We'll get to those after, but you do have at least ports you can use. So this will be a familiar theme, I think, for those of you who are used to Samsung laptops or have used one of the previous versions before. There's always a give and take that comes with using a laptop, like especially something like this that flips all the way back. It's 360 degrees, all that. So I'm going to look at I just want to sort of focus on the keyboard for a second here, because this is an area that I feel like Samsung still stubbornly just kind of stays to what it knows. So I'm just going to lay it down here so you can see it a little bit more. The thing is, the keys are arrayed and lined up the same way that they've always been. This is a problem, and it is, at least for me. So I'm speaking for myself, but I imagine that for some of you, you probably have expressed maybe similar frustrations. For me, it's the fact that the key travel is a bit weird, especially when you're typing a lot like I do. You do notice that, but it's also that this shift key here on the left side has been just a thorn in my side. Every time I have to use or test the Samsung laptop, I routinely end up touching this key instead, and it means a lot of mistakes and a lot of corrections. It is just something that I have not gotten used to ergonomically at all. What I find odd about it is that the shift key on this side is, and you could argue, is almost oversized in comparison to that one. And so that's one of the things that just from a design standpoint is a struggle. But now, mind you, it is a bilingual keyboard. So as you can see here, this is a bilingual keyboard. It's not perhaps the same one that you'll see in a model that you have. But if you do, particularly in Canada, you may find that this is what the layout is going to look like. Obviously, the oversized trackpad is, I love it. I think it's great, especially when it comes to editing photos or working on video or anything like that. This actually works out really, really well. Of course, you can always make adjustments based on what you like when it comes to how Windows handles taps or presses and things like that, and gestures, of course. Of course, the S Pen does come with this laptop, so, which is great, but it also, there's nowhere to put it. This is a familiar refrain, unfortunately, with Samsung, where they will include the S Pen with their laptops, but they don't give you a place to put it. That goes here too. There is a magnetic it will magnetically attach the back, but this is by no means a sturdy way to hold on to. I'm just going to flip it around here so you can get a better look at it. This is simply not going to work if you're carrying the laptop around. It's fine, I guess, if you're using the laptop and you have the lid open and everything, but it's just not safe, in my opinion. So you're almost gonna have to get a case if you want to cover both. And of course, given the size of the laptop, the case is gonna be pretty sizable too. Now I'm gonna flip it around here. Just gonna flip the. Just give me a second here. This is of course a touchscreen, as we see here. So one thing about this is that there we go. One thing about this is that the pen is responsive, but it's also, for me, and I know your use case might be different, I always like using 2-in-1 convertibles when it comes to editing photos. I find that it is very precise where I need it to be. So, for example, if we open this up, I can go to editing tools. Now I'm going to show you something here that does play a role and become a factor in how effective all this is. So I'm going to put see this? Now the S Pen's not touching the screen, but my hand is. The palm rejection, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be active here. And so we have a situation where I'm trying to I'm trying to work on something, but I then run into problems. So I have to touch with the pen first, and then maybe I can see. Now it's right. Now I'm not doing anything to the photo, but you get the idea. This is one of the challenges, I think, when it comes to using this device as a productivity tool, specifically with the S Pen, and something as precise as drawing, illustrating, photo editing, anything that requires that fine touch. It's going to be a bit of a challenge because of that palm rejection or lack thereof. Now you might have a way around that if you go through the settings. So here, if we just go to find a setting, okay, and we type in pen and Windows Ink settings. Now here, there's supposed to be extra settings. So additional pen settings here. You'll note here that let me use my pen as a mouse when it's available, ignore touch input when I'm using my pen. Okay, so this is interesting because what happens here now, all right, we're going to hide this for a second, is now it doesn't happen quite the same, right? It's not the same. So that's an interesting kind of thing. That's a workaround that you can find or you can use. I don't know why Samsung doesn't necessarily just make it a little more obvious, or at least have a pop-up. They seem to pop up things for other features, but not that. So if you're interested in using the pen and you for whatever reason, and you don't know, or you're not understanding why that's happening, and a way to correct it, that is the one way to do it. So I think that gives you the gist of what you can expect from this machine. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's lightweight. It's under 4 pounds. So it's for a 16-inch laptop. It's pretty lightweight, and very thin, obviously. And it's got ports, at least. I would have liked a full-size SD card slot, to be honest. As someone who works with photography all the time, I find that it would be far more convenient to at least have that. What ends up happening instead is that I have to use an adapter. So either I have to use a USB adapter and plug in the card there, or I'm using a hub. Either way, I got to use something to get that the full-size SD cards in there. So, but beyond that, I mean, the good news at least is that if you are thinking about being creative with this, you can at least expect it to last a while per charge. The tests vary depending on how you want to view battery life. I would say that I got it to go between about 10 to 15 hours, depending on what I was doing. Now, if I was working on anything, if I was watching a lot of video, or if there was mixed usage, so a lot of just working on a lot of photos over and over again, screen brightness as well is a big factor, as it always is. So when it comes to working on images and you want the screen to be a little brighter just so you can get a sense of the color, that's obviously going to sap battery life as well. So that's why 10 hours, sometimes even less, depending on what what the screen brightness is at. The speakers, the AKG speakers, aren't bad. They're not superb as well. Like, they're okay. I would have liked something a little more bombastic, or something with a little bit more oomph. at this price, but again, not shocked because this is typically the way Samsung does things, especially on their laptops. Just a quick summation here, I think, just to go over again who I think this is for. You have to want a big screen, and you have to also accept all the trade-offs. That this is not going to be a gaming machine. You're not going to be playing like the latest, I don't know, Cyberpunk or something like that on this. That's just not going to work. You're going to have to obviously really sacrifice some of the settings in order to get there. Also, I think you're gonna have to just recognize that this is supposed to be a workhorse. So you're getting this machine more so because you need to get work done, not necessarily because you just want to watch videos on it. You can just get something else for a lot less money for that. So in this case, you are looking for that combination: productivity, consumption. Great. It does that. It does it well. It's convenient. It has its challenges, particularly with the way the touchscreen works, and also the fact that you have nowhere to put this pen. But other than that, it's a pretty solid machine. So again, if you're a few years removed from getting a laptop, this one might be worth a shot. And that's my review of the Samsung Galaxy Book4 Pro 360. You can check out more about it by just clicking that link below. For the Best Buy blog, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.